Team Daily Huddle and Development Board. So over to you. Thank you.
Thank you. So yes, gosh, I'm the only one today, so that's yeah. I was expecting to see a few more, but it's nice to join you all today. So yeah, I'm talking today about our Daily Huddle and Development Board. So if you pop onto the next slide, I'll just talk about the problems and challenges that led us to that. So we are a very small team who had increased in size to about 5.8 whole-time equivalents. So we are quite tiny, and predominantly part-time team working across the wards within the Children's Hospital. And we had quite a few new team members who were new to acute working, and we'd been lucky enough to get some funding for some specialist roles in specific areas, so oncology and LTV and PICU, and that sort of brought with it growing pains. It was lots of positives, but there was challenges that came with that, and it was felt that day-to-day communication regarding caseload allocation, we had been using Pando previously, and we're no longer allowed to use that. So it was trying to work out what we can do as a team in terms of working with the increase in size, new roles, and developing better daily communication across the team, but also now there was more of us and we were working in different ways, how to look at clearer communication and developing more shared objectives and aligning more with the trust objectives as well. I was the only one that so far has been on LIM training, so I'd come away with some ideas that I thought would be useful, but wanted to engage the team with that. And it was just challenging finding the time when we had all these new starters, and there were obviously staff pressures and clinical pressures to try and fit this in, but we knew that getting these things in place would hopefully be of benefit. So next slide, please. So I came away from my LIM training with lots of ideas, and the initial thought was to focus on something that might be a fairly quick win that was going to impact on all the team and improve overall efficiency, and daily communication and caseload management was an area of frustration for the team. So it was trying to get everybody engaged in from all the SLT speech therapists involved and our lovely admin as well to help with this process. And that's where we came along and developed the Daily Huddle Board, and then went on to develop the wider service development board as well. So the Huddle Board, you can see a picture on the left there. So that's where we pop down all the children that are sent to us through specialist referrals or on our caseload, and we list those and we'll allocate them out throughout the day. We try to communicate key updates that are things from, say, the Children's Hospital Monday muddle, any key events and things that people need to know about during the week, and any staff capacity issues. But it was simple things that were causing us problems, like where do we even put the board, because we're in a shared open plan office. We're not allowed to put things on the walls, so it was little simple things that well, where do we put the board? Actually, if we're huddling, we're in an open plan office, and speech therapists talk a lot, we can be a rowdy bunch, so where do we go to have our productive huddle, and trying to book a room for that? What time do we have the huddle, depending on people's start times and things? So something as simple as putting a huddle board in place actually had little challenges along the way. And then we went on to develop our development board, which you can just see in the middle there, and I think there's another slide just afterwards, but that our wonderful admin helped me develop that, and we've got lots of tabs along looking at our service vision, aligning with LTHT and trust vision values, and then looking at our wider service objectives that we felt we needed to have in a more robust way and visible to all, and again aligning with 7Cs and trust objectives and our CSU objectives and the wider speech therapy service, including adults as well. And also put a tab on there looking at quality improvement and waste reduction ideas that people were coming up with and had ongoing projects with. We're also on the Athena programme, supported by Dave Holland, who had previously been our manager. So we're trying to keep tabs on where we're at with that as well. And then we thought it was really important to have a shout outs page as well. So I think if you go on to the next slide, there. That shows the development board sort of homepage, really, with the tabs along the bottom. And actually that's been really useful for new starters that have come into the team as well, literally in the last week or so, where everything's all in place at one time. And then if you go on to the next slide, that's really busy, and to be fair, we have actually tweaked that since I sent this, but we've got all our service objectives there, which we rag rate as well, and so we're showing our continual progress towards that. So next slide again, please. So the outcome, we do have a daily huddle board, and I'm sorry, this is one of these projects I think where finding metrics and data isn't particularly apparent. However, it's more through positive feedback and team morale and efficient ways of working that we've seen more, rather than numerical data collection and metrics, really. But the feedback from the speech therapy and the admin team is that the huddles really facilitated our day-to-day working and visible fair share of caseload, which has been helpful. It's really helped us have lots of productive case discussion, ensuring timely access of patients, working out, we base our sessions a lot on feed times to do with patients, so allocating who's available at what times to be there on the ward when those babies and children are feeding, and as I say, timely access to that and case discussion has been really beneficial, and it's I'd say it's improved sort of team morale in terms of how we're working. Obviously Pando we're not able to use now, but this has helped us, and we're now using Teams chat really to overcome that. And then in terms of the development board, that again has been really useful, having very visibly our team objectives and how we align with the wider service and trust, and how we're making progress towards those, and how people's individual appraisals also link into these objectives and 7Cs. And the recognition of positive feedback as well has been really beneficial. By having that tab on there, it's made us link more with the friends and family team. Since then, we have now got our own questions added to inpatient and outpatient feedback. So that's only happened literally in the last month or so. So hopefully now we'll get some more quality feedback about our input on the wards and patient feedback, which will be really beneficial, as well as great X and within our own team, positive feedback. So next slide, please. So what went well? Engagement from the team. I think initially I came back with some ideas, which I'll talk about in what I'll do differently and what I'll do next. But I think people's understanding of Leeds improvement method and quality improvement things was not limited, but I think by me going through this process and bringing forward ideas has really encouraged the team and brought a bit of enthusiasm to it. I think by having these simple things in place really has reduced frustration on a day-to-day basis, and shown that we've got our vision and objectives and progression as a service. In terms of patient care and service development and sharing of clinical skills and knowledge, that's really been beneficial through the case discussions and allocation, and we've been able to carry out more joint sessions for those new starters that go in with more experienced therapists and sharing time capacity that way. And that huddle board, the development board has shown really visibly, all in one place, all the amazing things that we are doing. Next slide, please. What I would do differently, I got quite enthusiastic after my Leeds improvement method, and I think the new format of the way things are being run at the moment is really, really good, and the support from the KPO team has been fantastic. And so I came away going, oh, we can do all the things, and then suddenly realised we can't do all the things all at once. So getting team awareness, I think probably, and team engagement by others being involved, and it not just being me trying to bring things forward. So Jimmy came and did a lovely session with the team, a bit of a learning burst for us all. So I feel I probably should have got that in first, really, before I started these things. But now Jimmy's been, and I think everybody in the team is a lot more aware. I started off thinking I would look at specific service areas, and I think some people, because they weren't really understanding the processes, were feeling, I think threatened is probably a strong word, but apprehensive about what I was there for and what my purpose of looking at their areas of the service would be. And I think now having a wider understanding of looking at sort of process flow in specific areas, people see the benefits of that. So looking forward, I think that's my next steps, really. I'd be looking at process flow in specific clinical areas or specific outpatient clinics, Gemba walks, and I think through that I'll then be able to get more data and more meaningful metrics to present. And we've just started looking at standard leader work as well within the team, which I hope we'll be able to use to develop and look at the service a bit more in terms of where there's gaps, and sharing other aspects of the roles that we do in terms of people's capacity to support students, working on developing new areas of the service and things. So yeah, there's lots more still to be done, and hopefully I might be presenting, or others in my team might be presenting to you in the future with lots of graphs and data and things that can again prove different improvements within our service. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Victoria. I think it was really great, and actually really struck by the staff engagement part of this, which sounds really powerful, really good to get the team with that sense. Interesting that you prefaced it by saying you weren't really sure what kind of metrics, and then proceeded to go through a whole range of things that we are actually demonstrating the value of. So it struck me as really good, and actually some of our 7 commitments, it struck me as well. It really speaks to some of those around the timeliness of feeds, helping patient access, etc., staff retention if people are enjoying this more. So actually lots and lots to go at, I think, from there, really. So well done, really good. So let's open it out for some questions. Has anybody got any questions or comments for Victoria? Jenny?
Yeah, a few comments and then a question. So I thought that was absolutely brilliant. I was really struck by all the things you've said, Phil, but also just making everything visible, just how empowering that is for people to be able to engage and become much more involved. And then I guess my question relates to your last point about hopefully some of your team will be here reporting out in future. Do you think what do you think is required to make that happen, Victoria? Because I'm just wondering whether people getting exposed to and immersed in this is actually enough for people to feel confident to come to report out. So just interested to get your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I think having gone through the full training and the cohorts, I feel Jimmy gave the team a taster of everything within sort of, I think, an hour and a half. But I feel those who speech therapists are working in specialty areas, and because some of those roles are quite new, I do feel that actually by having this approach and a fuller understanding of this approach from the beginning might lead people to develop their services and begin their services in different ways with a sort of embedded culture of sort of reviewing quality improvement, that kind of thing, rather than just doing things in a way we felt we've done them before. So yeah, I think people have got a better awareness now, and hopefully me sharing that and by Jimmy coming on as well, that has improved. But I do feel, I know we're a small team, but even just having 1 or 2 people go through the full training would have a wider reaching impact on the team and develop shared learning and greater confidence to do this, I think, probably.
Great. Thanks, Victoria. Thanks for that. I think that team learning thing is something that's really for us all to reflect on, actually, given the sort of past few years of focusing on individual training, which has had its benefits. But I think that team learning is probably important. So, Jimmy.
Yeah, thanks, Victoria. I really appreciated the what you did, and I think you over-referenced me there in terms of all the work was done by you, and I turned up for an hour and a half just to chip in. Just picking up on the point around the benefit of, I guess, any training, be it LIM training or other. If you do that on your own and you're talking that language on your own, it's always a little bit more of a challenge, isn't it, to try and embed that. Whereas we are actively encouraging teams to come, with one maybe two other colleagues to share that experience of learning, and then you've got an ally, hopefully from the beginning, and you can amplify that impact across a team. So we do encourage that. I think that's positioned, isn't it, against the challenges operationally. So releasing one person is difficult, but releasing two people to go on the training is a little bit harder. But I guess my offer would be that, we do, for the intermediate, there's a start cohort every month. So it might be not exactly in the same day, but perhaps you could be close to it. So just thoughts on that, and then reflecting on your point, Phil, about the, how do we get this message, the training stuff, out to people in different ways as well, rather than them necessarily having to join the training, and these little learning bursts to get people started is certainly something we're exploring, particularly around the daily management, which is the large element of what Victoria's kindly shared with us today. So yeah, some good reflection there, and thanks for a great presentation.
Thank you. And just a point on that, actually, because I have shared, I think I've spoken with Katie about this in my sort of supervision sessions as well in between, and then I shared it with the OT, physio and dietetic leads here within the office. And again, I think it's something, and I've shared our development board so that they're not having to completely reinvent the wheel. So hopefully, and they feel the benefit as well. And I think they've said that it's something that they'd like to look at and replicate and tweak within their own service areas as well. So I think as AHPs, that's something that we can look at and share as well. So there's been, again, it's already having an impact and sharing the learning already. So it's, positive.
That's really great to hear, Victoria. Actually, that's kind of standard work, and the more we can not have everybody thinking up their own way of doing stuff and standardizing it, the better, because actually, as you say, there's lots of benefits of just sharing what people have done and tweaking it for your own local area. So really good. So we'll look forward to you and the team coming back to tell us kind of some of the further outputs from that, but really fantastic work, and I think really encouraging to see how people are engaging with it and thinking about how they can make those contributions. So that's our only presentation today. I can't see anybody else wanting to come in just right now. So if we've got no more comments, questions or answers, just thank you again, Victoria, for that. Really enjoyed it. And end of report out. Thank you.